Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital worlds. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8, and this is Let's Play the Orchard of Stray Sheep. Ellipses. Have you ever felt a strange and lonely feeling in the middle of a typical morning? Have you ever had this awkward sense that something wasn't right as you went about your day, as though something was missing, or that someone wasn't there? Perhaps it's more than just a sense. And that's all the more true here at this academy. This happened long ago. One spring, a girl enrolled into this academy. Let's call her Kay. The student dormitory she lived in was surrounded by trees that also functioned as a windbreak because it was built particularly close to the shoreline, closer than any other building on this isolated island. Kay did not remember anything about who she was before she came to this academy, just like all of the other students here. Kay was introverted and very shy around strangers. She had trouble making friends and could not bring herself to discuss it with her teachers either. Which is why a month after Kay enrolled into the academy, she might as well have not even been there. I don't want to make myself any more miserable. Afraid of being out in front of people, Kay shut herself in the student dormitory. About a year into her time here at the academy, Kay had become so reclusive that she skipped classes. However, concerned about her personality, the teachers opted to be willfully blind. Without anyone intervening, Kay grew more and more introverted by the day. Kay's dormitory room was only a single-person room in the academy. This was very rare, as students were required to have a roommate. Kay did not know why she was the only one to have a room to herself, though it didn't particularly bother her. Although the fact that the room felt slightly too big, and an extra bed added to her loneliness. To Kay, the room was a paradise. After all, it was easier not to hate herself when there was no one else to compare herself to. The teachers who thought of her as a nuisance were never there to bother her either. Her only visitors were the sounds of the waves that drowned out the noise of the outside world. Kay deeply loved tranquility and protection from the barbaric outside world that it offered. However, there was one thing that weighed on her mind. It was about a week after she had shut herself inside. She found a diary with a checkered pattern in the extra closet. The diary had neither a name nor a date written on it. Kay did not recognize it. After all, it did not belong to her. was built. Therefore, it wouldn't be unusual at all for someone to come upon some of the graduates' belongings. Kay was satisfied with that explanation. That was, despite the fact that Kay had already searched every corner of the room on the day she moved in, and despite the fact that the handwriting in the diary looked very familiar. Thinking back, perhaps her fascination began when she first had that strange out-of-place feeling. As spring was turning into summer, Kay made a friend. Her friend was your average student, a girl who loved reading and nature. She was a very polite person, and she doted on her roommate, as though she were her sister. She started every morning by feeding the stray cats on campus. Before bedtime, she religiously read the books written by someone from long ago in Kentucky. Kay must have known her friend better than anyone else, perhaps even better than A himself. Kay and her friend shared the same interests and had similar personalities. In other words, you could say they were very alike. Because their personalities and interests were very similar, the two of them became fast, irreplaceable friends. Not. The two of them lived in different times. It was but a one-sided friendship on Kay's part. Kay did not even know her friend's name. Her friend existed only inside the bulky, checkered diary. Kay lived alone inside that seaside student dormitory where only the beating waves could be heard. Despite that, she was able to soothe her sense of loneliness with the traces of someone who once lived here. She couldn't see her. She couldn't hear her. She didn't even know what her name was. All she had were the remnants of her memories. Kay read only a page of the diary each day. It was though she were enriching each of her empty days with the memories of someone she had never met. "I'm home," the girl only ever spoke inside the doorway. Haha, asking for someone to stay with her, and she'll fall asleep again? A is such a spoiled kid. The girl only ever laughed when she was reading her friend the diary. Thanks to the sounds of the waves drowning out all voices, her strange laughter could not be heard outside of the room. Is this Mr. T that Mr. T? Several days had passed since Kay started reading the diary. Kay noticed that she recognized some of the people mentioned in the diary. Whoever that wrote this diary must have been here pretty recently. At first, that was all she could tell. Then one day, no way, she noticed something strange. Most of the students being written about in the diary were students whom Kay knew, all except the author, and A. However, no one at the academy resembled the author, or A. Just who are you? The only answers that Kay received were the sounds of the turning pages. Her friend would respond only by continuing to tell her story silently, up until the final words written to the diary. I don't want to forget. I don't want to remember. That night was far noisier than usual. The waves would not cease beating against the shore. Struck by the ocean winds, the windows kept clattering. Those sounds were the walls of the fortress that kept her isolated from the annoying outside world. Or at least, that should have been the case. And even though that should have been the case, Kay? It was the sound of the beating waves. Kay! Hey, Kay! Fluttering amidst the blowing winds. The curtain lightly brushed against Kay's bedsheets. Hey, Kay? Try to remember. It felt as though she was going to scream, her lungs out at any moment. She had covered herself from head to toe with her blanket. There was something on the other side. Hey! It was coming toward her. The warmth. The breathing. Toward her ear. Hey, Kay. Her hands tightly clutching the sheets were dripping with sweat. In the dim environment under her blanket, she did not dare to move her narrowly opened eyes. Her attention is focused only on the sounds of breathing, both hers and that something else's, and the ticking of the clock next to her bed. As each second passed, she wished that it was all a dream. Between each of her faint breaths, she prayed that this was just a dream. She kept telling herself not to think about it, yet her awareness heightened with each passing moment. Hey, Kay. Kay. Something was shaking her body. The people next door must have been making a ruckus. Hey, answer me. She silently screamed inside her head. In her horrified state, she was slowly losing her cool to the building anxiety and confusion. Like the beating sea waves, the endless refrain continued every night. That night, the voice visited her once again. Kay did not reply at all. Amongst the sounds of the waves and the breeze that she loved, a girl's whispers could be heard. Kay. Night after night, the presence of that somebody on the other side of her blankets became clearer and clearer. By the time the cries of the cicadas could no longer be heard, she could always feel that somebody was there next to her, even though she wasn't able to hear her voice. The sounds of the windows clattering in the wind, and the waves beating against the shore, were drowning out everything else. One late summer evening, just when the setting sun had finally sunk below the horizon. Hey. There was a voice. In response, Kay said. After a long silence, she sat up from her bed. There was no response. And no one was there. She could hear neither the girl's breathing nor her voice. It was a dry laugh, filled with a sense of relief. She thought to herself, just what was I so frightened of? Well, of course, the girl she heard must have been an hallucination. It must have all been an illusion, caused by her anxiety. even though she was trembling just a second earlier. She had regained her composure. The room was silent and lifeless. It was all her own imagination. It must have been a product of her fascination with the world inside that strange diary. But that was the end of it. Despite her stiffened lips, she smiled a little. Kay then thought of leaning back down on her bed. You finally noticed me. She could feel a cold sensation seeping into her back. A sweet, whispering voice tickled her ears. Then, two slender white arms wrapped around her shoulders from behind. She had seen her before. She had seen her before, but had since forgotten her. She had doted on her as though she were her little sister. Then her arms disappeared. The room was quiet. It was way too quiet. There was neither the sound of the ocean nor the rattling of the windows. Is that you, eh? By the way, let me know if it's better for me to read everything, or whether or not I read stuff will really just be based on what I feel like doing. But yeah, it's good for me to read everything out, or let you guys read it. I don't know. It's the end of July. The student lounge in the corner. It's just really loud. An odd juxtaposition. Why do we all have little halos? Why does hers say 13? Hers say 3614? Well, I have no idea what's happening anymore. Wait, your name is Casserole? Sir? How do I save it? Save. And let me know if you guys want to see more. Bye.